spending some time on YouTube the other day, and one of my favorite channels put out a new video about the presidents. This channel is Mental Floss, by the way, if you want to look it up. And it occurred to me that all our presidents are really very crazy. Teddy Roosevelt, for example, once threw the Swiss prime minister to the ground in a judo demonstration during a luncheon. Teddy Roosevelt is the poster child of extroversion, which an extrovert is someone who likes to be around lots of people and they feed off their energy, where an introvert is someone who enjoys reading and spending time with themselves. The 1828 presidential campaign, one of the slogans was, John Quincy Adams who can write, Andrew Jackson who can fight. Not surprisingly, Andrew Jackson won that presidential campaign. And it's really strange because presidents should be able to write, so why don't we vote for the president who can write? I think that it is true that there should be more introverts in the government. Introverts are capable of acting extroverted as needed, I mean, for speeches and stuff like that. Two examples are Abraham Lincoln and Obama. He is a self-declared introvert. Of course, Abraham Lincoln, as well as Obama, gave some pretty famous speeches, the Gettysburg Address. And Abraham Lincoln had some crazy hair. I don't know, that doesn't seem like it should be possible without some product. But when an introvert cares about something, they are capable of acting extroverted for that cause. For example, America. If they're president, they care about America. No matter whether you're Democrat or Republican, any of the candidates cares about America. And so they would be able to act for America. And John Adams' dog, he named him Satan, which is a very strange thing and the sort of thing you would expect an extrovert to do, even though he was extremely introverted. Introverts also have traits that are lacking in the government, and these are traits that are good for the government too. For example, introverts tend to be good listeners. They listen to what people want and they can consider that despite their own views. And they're not big risk takers. In business, it's good to take risks because a lot of time they pay off, but when you're dealing with America's future, you need to have something to fall back on, and that is what the introverts can offer us. They also tend to they tend to think before they speak, which is important. You don't want to offend someone because you haven't thought something through thoroughly. And they tend to pay more attention to detail, which is again important when you're trying to set a budget for America or any of the other things people have to do in government. And finally, they tend to care less about wealth, fame, and status, which is some of the main causes of corruption in any government. Introverts also balance extroverts. Their traits cooperate with each other. Introverts tend to be more polite, where extroverts tend to get more excited about things. You can't convince anyone to join your cause without some excitement, but you also don't want to offend them. So in cooperation with each other, they can have a good effect. For example, Eleanor Roosevelt was an introvert, while Franklin Roosevelt was very much an extrovert. Franklin was the politician, and Eleanor acted as his conscience. He would go out and give speeches and talk to people, while she would call attention the needs of America to him. Is it fair to all concerned? Well, 50% of Americans are introverts. People tend to think that this number is a lot lower because these are the people who don't talk, they're the people you don't notice. But there's not an appropriate amount of representation for these people because they don't tend to get elected, because they don't put themselves out there as much. Introverts are more likely to consider other people's opinions too, because they are such good listeners and because they're concerned with others first. Introverts in government will also help build goodwill and better friendships. In foreign affairs, this is especially important. They tend to be very polite, which is important because it's easy to offend people of different cultures if you don't understand things, but these are the sort of people who would go out and learn things like that. And also the Chinese and Asian cultures tend to be a lot more quiet, and so they think that we're really loud, and they only want to talk when they feel like they have something important to contribute, which is a trait introverts have, so they can connect better. Also, the level of friendship is different. Introverts tend to have a lot of close friends rather than a lot of acquaintances. They understand people on a different level. Will it be beneficial to all concerned? Well, introverts will be better represented in government, so that is better for them, and even extroverts, better for extroverts too. And also, they will add a different point of view to problem solving. Introverts have what's called a quiet strength. You might recognize it from the way Gandhi did things. Instead of forcing people to do what you want them to do, you make them want to do that. My conclusion is that introverts in government would make things more fair, more true. They will build better friendships, and it would be beneficial for America. So in the next presidential campaign, you have to make sure that you look for the introverts because they won't be as easy to spot. And vote for a writer instead of a fighter.